It's a big deal.
I got an idea to run by you, and
Sure.
you tell me what you think about this. Well, there's a golden thread of conversation that constitutes the basis for humanities education, let's say, that's run across centuries. And in principle, that concentrates on ideas that have been winnowed, probably through a quasi-evolutionary process across large spans of time. Get documents out of that, like the King James Bible, for example.
Sure.
And they're zeroing in on core conceptual structures that we don't even necessarily explicitly understand. It seems to me that when we take young people and we give them a genuine humanities education, we solve the alignment problem for them. Now, so the question...
Or make it worse.
Well, you do that if it's propagandistic. You can make it much worse.
Which often is these days.
That's pretty much that's also exactly what happens, and inevitably when that unbroken tradition is not transmitted. And so this strikes to something that's very essential, which is, well, what's the difference, let's say, or is there a difference between the Western canon, let's say, and the latest woke nonsense? Now, I've used Grok a lot, and it's not as woke as ChatGPT, but it's still woke. Like, it still deviates in the... So how are you... Can you address that by... It's just a language model at the moment, let's say. If it also understood images, if it also understood behavior...
It actually does understand images at this point.
Is the language model and the image understanding, are they stacked on top of each other? Because I think that's partly how we triangulate psychologically, right? We have an imagination and we have a verbal module. Those things have to work in sync, and we also have...
It certainly is intended to work in sync. It is intended to be what's called a multimodal model, which means understanding text, images, and video, and audio.
If it understands video, will it start to understand behavior? All this data that you've collected with your cars, I've been wondering, I know Tesla's a car company, but when I look at what you do,
AI
I don't...
company
Well, exactly.
well,
maybe more. Like, those aren't cars, those are autonomous robots.
No, robots on four wheels. Autonomous robots on four wheels, They just look like a car.
Right. They're disguised as a car in a sense.
As a car,
yeah, okay. So what advantage do you have in training Grok, given that you have all this real-world data that you've gathered from your automobiles?
We haven't yet applied real-world video from Tesla to Grok yet. So I do want to emphasize, XAI is a fairly new company. It's just a little over a year old. So we have a lot of catching up to do to companies, relative to companies that have been around for 5 or 10 or 20 years. We're catching up fast. I think the velocity of improvement of XAI is faster than any other company out there. We just completed the... we were just able to install and bring online a massive new training center that we, as I mentioned, we're building in Memphis. It's from getting hardware installation to it beginning training was only 19 days, and that's the fastest by far that anyone's been able to do that. We're moving quickly, but we're still catching up. And so if you use...
Catching up to who?
Well, catching up to, say, Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, and the others.
And how do you feel that Grok...
We're catching up fast.
How do you feel that Grok performs, say, in relationship to ChatGPT now?
Well, so the Grok version that's been released is still based on Grok 1, version 1 training.
Yeah.
We've made several improvements. It's sort of called Grok 1.5. But the foundation model of Grok is still an order of magnitude weaker than ChatGPT.
Oh, yes.
So it's doing quite well, given that order of magnitude difference.
And this new system, how powerful is it compared, let's say, to ChatGPT?
Well, Grok 2 actually finished training. Now, Grok 2 was training with... we call it roughly 15,000 GPUs, and they're H100. So Grok 2 finished training about a month ago. We're doing what's called fine-tuning, fixing bugs and whatnot. So we'll release Grok 2, which should be on par with or close to a GPT-4. Okay. And that's hopefully we release that next month. Then what we're doing in the Memphis data center is we're actually training Grok 3. So that'll probably finish training in about 3 or 4 months, and then there'll be some fine-tuning and bug fixing and whatnot. And we're hoping to release Grok 3 by December, and Grok 3 should be the most powerful AI in the world at that point.
My sense with ChatGPT, like I've worked with lots of undergraduates and graduates, so my sense with ChatGPT is if you can corner it into behaving properly, that you kind of have something approximating a team of, I would say, master's degree level intelligence and something like that. What do you envision for this new, well, let's say the new Grok 3? And then you talked about delving deeper into the structure of the universe, let's say, to answer fundamental questions. And you are a remarkably forward-looking person. What the hell do you think you're building with these AI systems? What is this?
Well, I think really what all the AI companies are aiming to build is digital superintelligence. So, intelligence that's far smarter than any human. And then ultimately an intelligence that is far smarter than all humans combined. Now one can say, like, is this a wise thing to do? Isn't this dangerous? Well, unfortunately, whether we think that or not, it is being done. So, yeah, really, from my standpoint, from the XAI team standpoint, we have the choice of being a spectator or a participant.
That's life, man.
Be a spectator or a participant. And I think if we're a participant, we've got a better chance, hopefully, of steering AI in a direction that is beneficial to humanity.
So why do you trust yourself on that front? Just out of, that's an important question, right?
I don't trust myself entirely.
Good. Well, that's yes, fair enough. But you're in an ethical conundrum, right?
Yes, it's an ethical conundrum.
Right, because you said, well, this is happening. Now, the excuse that something is happening is not a rationale for participating in it, but then your next take is, well, you have the chance to do this properly, let's say, as
maybe
opposed
better.
to...
I think from a moral standpoint, we really just need to think that maybe we've got a chance of it being better to some degree than what others are doing, and we'll strive to avoid some of the pitfalls or directions that the others are going in, because the others, from what I've seen, do not strive for truth.
What do they strive for?
They strive for, well, they strive to give an answer, but they are, I think, trained to be politically correct. And the woke mind virus is woven in throughout them.